You know, they say that there is more than one way to fry an egg, and they would be absolutely correct. This is my coffee, by the way. I'm going to get jittery in this video. They say that there's more than one way to fry an egg. Now, personally, I like to have mine poached. You can also have it sunny side up. You can have it over easy, or you can have it unwashed. So many ways to fry an egg. But today we're talking about how to fry this particular egg. That's right, the Leviathan is supposedly the meta fleet of the last 20 years. And we're going to go over 4 different counters that I have to this ship so that you have always got something in your back pocket, provided you have some common sense and farm the right ships. Let's do it! If your fleet arena is anything like mine, it looks a little bit like this. Leviathans as far as the eye can see. And that's going to be the state of things for the most part. Look at me with a bald-headed Mace Windu over here. Bald guys gotta stay together. Anyway, Leviathan. It is the meta fleet. You will see it everywhere when you start climbing in Fleet Arena, GAC, Territory Wars, all that good stuff. So you need to know how to counter it. I've got 4 for you today. We're going to start off with like easiest to dodgiest. All right, cool. Let's do this. So number 1, ladies and gentlemen, the easiest counter to the Leviathan is, of course, a mirror match. It just is. Basically, the mirror match can go one of 2 ways. You either go in and you go first, and provided all things being equal, and all things being equal, I mean, is your Darth Revan rocking 6-dot mods, and have you got 6-dot mods on your pilots? You don't need to have like R9 ships. That's almost irrelevant, right? The way the coin flip goes at the start is, does your Leviathan go first? If your Leviathan goes first, the counter is very simple. You hit auto, and you win. All right, is that clear? Are we all? Do we have an accord? Do we have an accord? Do we have an accordion? Who knows? So the lineup will be this. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. All you want to do is you want to make sure you've got the Sith Fighter, that you've got your Sith TIE-IN Interceptor, whatever it is. No, that's the Mark 6 Interceptor. Have the Mark 6 Interceptor. Have the Scimitar. These 3 ships are the important ones. The rest doesn't matter. You could take this in if you want. You can leave it. You could throw this in if you. It doesn't matter, guys. One of these. All right. This is the lineup. Now you either go in. If you go first, you hit auto. You win. That's the mirror match. If you don't go first, it goes a little bit differently. And here's my Blue Peter footage of me not going first, I hope. Great, we didn't go first. Enemy capital ship goes first. When this happens, all you need to do is make sure that your first reinforcement is the Scimitar. All right? They will go first. They will do their shenanigans. You go first. Spam specials. Target whoever you want. It really is irrelevant. It doesn't make the slightest bit of difference. You want to use the second special first. Don't try and disrupt the hangars first. Don't be a moron. Okay? Get the engines. That's going to decrease their speed. That puts you on a parity of speed. Now, unfortunately, they are currently winning the ultimate race. Okay? However, they make their mistake, because they have then disrupted your hangars, which means the next reinforcement that you bring out is going to go melt off into the darkness, much like my brain cells do on a Friday night. We are instead going to take the far wiser approach and reinforce with our Scimitar. The reason we reinforce with the Scimitar is it's going to give us, all of our ships and our capital ship, 30 speed, okay, for the rest of the battle. It's great. You can see it over there. All allies gain 15 speed, double for Sith allies for the rest of the battle, including the capital ship. This gives us the lead once again when it comes to the race towards the ultimate. And that is essentially what every single fleet battle comes down to, is who gets to ult first, unless it's an inconsequential fleet battle. Because we have reinforced with our Scimitar, yes, it died, but we are faster. You can see we got our third turn now. Before the enemy capital ship, we disrupt their hangars, they lose their fighter. At this point, you just want to reinforce with your TIE Interceptor. Come in, use the basic then on the enemy's bomber, and, well, to be honest, you can actually hit auto as soon as you reinforce with the Scimitar. It actually just works. If you want to play it manually and make it a little bit quicker, then you just basic their enemy bomber and target down the dagger. Okay? But it's not necessary. You can just hit auto after reinforcing with the Scimitar. I could show you the rest of this battle. But it would be a waste of everybody's time. Look, we win. Look, see? We win. Job's a good one. Phone it in, boys. Now, if they happen to have, I don't know, their scimitar as the first reinforcement, doesn't matter. You still win, okay? If they happen to have the TIE Interceptor as their first reinforcement, they're dumb. You win. Next. So the next counter is going to be the kooky favorite that everybody has. This is using our endurance. This is the wonderful fleet that gets to be a little bit different and gets to use some ships that we very rarely use. So we're going to take in the Phantom 2 as our first reinforcement and Lando's Millennium Falcon as the second reinforcement. This one's great because it doesn't happen to use any ships that really detract from any of your other fleets. You can argue that, sure, you want the Phantom 2 in the Profundity. You don't really. You don't really. You don't need it. It's great here, okay? Now, this one isn't 100%, but it is pretty darn close to being 100%. Now, my relic levels on my ships make it a little bit funky because I've only got an R7 mace, but I've got R7 on my Bad Batch and R8 on my Anakin. All you really need to make sure is that when you do this counter, you are stealthing your Anakin as soon as possible, okay? So my turn order is a little bit funky. And you know what? We'll do this one live. We'll do it live. And, you know, put our money where our mouth is. My mouth's here. I'm not going to put my money in my mouth. My money is digital. That wouldn't work. All right. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to put target lock out. So use the special with your Umbaran, and then with the capital ship, you're going to put out that second special. Fortune favors the bold. Oh no, the bold. Close. That one's going to pass up all that wonderful valor to our guys. And valor is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And we want it because we are valorious. So, like I said, you want to stealth the Anakin. So, as soon as your Marauder goes, second special. Target the Bananakin. That's going to hide him. Good sausage. Good sausage. Alright, then we are just going to basic here with Anakin. They are going to isolate on our Umbaran Starfighter. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. All right. And we basic once again. Wonderful. And then you're just going to basic over here on the TIE Dagger. You can ignore the taunt now. Well, there is no taunt. Basic on the TIE Dagger with your Marauder. That's going to do a dodge. That's not ideal. That's not ideal. If you get really unfortunate and get a dodge like that, pretty terrible behavior. So I'm using the second special there with the Phantom because he dodged. Otherwise, we would use the first special to try and get rid of some of this taunt. I'm going to use the AoE here, and we do get rid of the TIE Dagger. So sometimes things go a little bit loopy, a little bit funky, a little bit wonky, and it's actually not a terrible thing to have happen. We're going to reinforce once again, and we're going to bring out Lando's Millennium Falcon, okay? This boy is going to come in hot, and check it out. There's going to be absolutely no tauntage. Okay, so there's no point in us doing that. So I think we actually just basic here, and then we are going to have to use this second special over here because we're doing additional damage. We want to try and take out that Sith fighter in one hit. Not quite enough damage for one hit. Maybe we could do an AoE here and count our blessings. We might be able to take out the Sith fighter. Normally, I would just basic with the Marauder. Yeah, just basic with the Marauder. It's not worth the hassle. I think we should still be absolutely fine here, by the way. Do not use Convergence as soon as it's available. You want to make sure your entire team has got Valor. So we're actually going to use Fortune Favors the Bold. Because it does. Even though they got that cheeky little dodge at the start. That was very rude. Normally, that dodge doesn't happen, of course. But hey-ho. That's the way the cookie crumbles. Going to use that special over here, targeting down the big boy. And then we're just going to use a basic over here to do some good damage. Wonderful. And once again, if they could stop getting, you know, foresight and stuff, that would be tremendous. Wouldn't that be tremendous? I'm actually going to go after the Sith fighter here, using the ultimate, targeting him down, boom, 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 taking him out. And then once again, target down that Sith bomber. Once he's gone, they do not have any form of taunting going on. And we've taken him out. Oh my god, we did it live and it worked, bro. So that's not normal. That's not typical. Still managed to win even with terrible RNG, and apparently I've climbed up into second, well outside of my payout. So that's the wonderful counter that uses Young Hung Lando. Alrighty, so the Profundity, yes, it does still have a valid use. Don't let the naysayers convince you otherwise. We are using a completely non-standard lineup over here. Openers, sure. Starting 3, the normal ones. You know, you got the Millennium Falcon, the Outrider, the Rebel Y-Wing. In the reinforcements, you need the Mark 6 Interceptor over here. Very, very important. And for security reasons, you take in the Scimitar. You take the Scimitar as a safety net. You need this if the enemy has got a Scimitar reinforcement first order, which can be done. Okay, now if you want to have these last 2 slots being the Phantom 2 and the Ghost, for security reasons, be my guest. Alright, so here we go, going into the battle. This isn't 100% counter either. The goal of this one is to make sure that we slow the enemy's ult so that we can get to ult first. With that in mind, with our capital ship's first turn, you want to pass the turn over to your Outrider, okay? Always use basic on your capital ship to Outrider, and Outrider is going to use the second special emergency repairs. That pushes ultimate, but also very vitally puts tenacity up on our whole team. So that means the enemy can't really put debuffs on us, which is really useful. Hopefully we get a load of assists like that. That's brilliant. With your Millennium Falcon, you want to be basicking as much as possible, cleansing off the debuffs, getting crits, calling assists, speeding up our ult. Use the special with your Rebel Y-Wing. Hopefully get some additional assists, but you might not. They have now destroyed our engines, slowing down our capital ship. Thankfully, we've still got some tenacity up over here, slowing down the enemy. All right, so let's take a look. We want to use that first special over here. Unfortunately, he does have crit hit immunity, so we're not really going to... Oh, we got an assist from the Millennium Falcon. I like to wiggle with Millennium Falcon now to get rid of this daze, okay? Get rid of the daze, unless he's got crit hit immunity. He does not have crit hit immunity, so we're going to get rid of that. He's going to reinforce. Hopefully, he stuns... Yes, the Rebel Y-Wing is perfect. If he goes on the Outrider, it's not so great. We are going to use our first reinforcement now on the Mark 6 Interceptor. Word of caution, if the enemy has reinforced with the Scimitar, you reinforce with the Scimitar. Okay? Does that make sense? That's how you win that race. We're going to call in the Interceptor, though, because it's not a Scimitar lineup, and you want to use the second special. That is once again going to pass us tenacity up to the whole team. It's wonderful. Slow down the enemy's ult. They will always then focus on your Interceptor. Every single time, they'll take it out. It's got a high target priority. Just keep your focus on the bomber. You need to be able to destroy it as soon as possible. Okay, we're just going to basic over here, call an assist. Wonderful. And we should be okay at this point. We should be. Now, they might get to their reinforcement. Really depends, but we might also... Ooh, here we go. Let's once again use that special. Get that tenacity up, get that speed up, get that additional progress on our ultimate. And over here, what should we do? What shall we do? I think we might just call in at the moment. Yeah, let's just call in our Outrider. Get some good damage on that enemy B-28. You're probably going to lose the Rebel Y-Wing at some point. Let's call the assist. Good damage. We've hit ultimate and we've taken out that enemy bomber. Now, we've lost our Outrider. It's a bit of a shame, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the cookie crumbles. We've also lost our Rebel Y-Wing, but our enemy has lost their capital ship. So it should be okay. This is why you want to take in some additional reinforcements, because the end of the fight can still get very, very hairy. The end of the fight still can get hairy despite everything, because that's... the Mark 6 Interceptor does cause some issues for us. So we're going to call it in our Scimitar. We're definitely going to flip it on back and reverse it over here. And hope for the best. But you should be okay all the same. And there we go. We took it out with 22 seconds to spare. Take in the extra reinforcements as a safety net, basically. But you should be absolutely fine. Nice! Alright, so we are going to take the same approach to the Executor. That's right, we are using the Interceptor once again with the Executor and the Slave 1. Triple attacker lineup. No using of Houndstooth, no using of IG2K. Don't need those guys. Alright, so this one's pretty decent for banners and quite reliable as well in my experience. So, out the gate, we are going to use our mass assist on the B-28. We can't really dodge it, but we do start with tenacity up on the entire team for 2 turns. So we're not going to get debuffs, we're not going to get thermals, nothing like that. Target the TIE Dagger. We do want to try and kill him as quickly as is possible. The enemy's going to try and use its first special. It can't isolate because we're not light side. They're going to do some AoE business, some funky business. We're just going to keep on doing AoEs. We want to try and whittle down that TIE Dagger as much as possible. Don't forget, punishing one on its first turn. It will cleanse debuffs and it can ignore taunt. So we're going to use its first special, target the TIE Dagger, and call in the Razor Crest, okay? Boom, boom. You might sometimes kill the TIE Dagger there, you might not, but you will get marked on it. So, taking him out, That's great. Huge advantage to us. They're going to call in the Sith Trooper over here. Sith Fighter, sorry. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Get rid of that foresight on it. And then we're going to call in our Interceptor. Why are we calling in the Interceptor? Because that second special, it presses up AoE Tenacity up. We are going to slow down the enemy's ult. Once again, they will hard target that boy because they're mad at it. Should have just used the basic there. Didn't realize I was fully dazed. That's my own fault. Yep, okay. Keep on calling in. Well, maybe we shouldn't call in there, but it looks like I'm going for it. I'm just going for it. We're going to dispel those buffs. I'm for some reason calling in the Xanadu Blood. We hit our contract and we're just going to heal up. Heal up the weakest unit. You might want to heal up on the punishing one. It's the most valuable ship in this lineup at the moment. Looks like I'm trying to spread that marked over there to Sith Fighter. Take out the Sith Fighter really, really quickly. At this point, you are going to lose a ship if they get that reinforcement. Hopefully it's not on your punishing one, but hey ho, we can't really control that. We're going to call in our Slave 1 now. You'll notice they still haven't destroyed our hangars because we've slowed down the amount of debuffs that they can get out to almost nothing. So their ult is still a long way away. Focus down and try and take out that B-28. It might be smarter to try and take it out sooner than this, truth be told. But hey ho, that is the way we are living right now. Now I put the death mark over here because I want to try and trigger additional damage and take out that Fury class Interceptor super quick. It does have that revive still. So multiple hits, take them out quickly. They can't heal up, all that sort of good business. Still need to take out that bomber, but we have hit our ult before the enemy. And if we've hit ult before the enemy, they stand 0 chance. So take them out just like this. I'm not saying that this is the best approach. This was me just messing around and trying to make things work. But it seemed to go quite well, all in all. Get that tie-in Interceptor, get the second special out, get the tenacity up. You'll be golden. You'll be absolutely golden. And the great thing about this, guys, is we've got a number of counters. Yeah, sure, some of those counters are using the Interceptor itself. Some of them is using a Leviathan. But if you've got Profundity, you can make it work. Farm the Interceptor. If you've got Executor, you can make it work. Farm the Interceptor. If you've got young Lando and the Endurance, you don't need the Interceptor. You've got a pretty viable counter there. 4 different teams. I know there are more. I know there are variations. There are things that can go wrong. But with these counters, you've at least got something available to you in your back pocket. Thank me later. Hit the like button. Comment your favorite bean of coffee so I know that you watched this far. And I'll see you in the next video, baby. Peace out and may the force be with you.